Hey guys, welcome to Channel Sunny here, and today we got a new global lab. I was not expecting pretty much anything, but there are some really big things in here actually. Some real notable changes. Is it enough? Probably not, but it's definitely some stuff in the right direction, and some other things that get me very exciting for something coming up soon, I expect. But as always, this is Friday, and this patch should all be out on Thursday next week. So if you want to cover these and be here, check out Twitch videos by bprimegaming, where we do them live every time they are out. So let's get into the first one. This one here is awesome. They are changing the skill preset cooldowns. So on your K menu, you have your presets where you can save your skills, your spec, add-ons, and things like that for PvE and PvP. This is really huge. First off, they're changing the cooldown from 10 minutes to 1 minute, and the skill presets change does not have to be in a safe zone anymore. So if you're out grinding whatever you want to PvP, somebody comes up, you can switch right then and there. You don't have to go into a battle arena, switch it, etc., and it's only a 1 minute cooldown. So this is absolutely huge for this. But this change also ties into another thing that they talked about last California Ball. It's something me and a lot of people are very anxious about seeing already, the all-in-one preset. So by making a 1 minute cooldown, making you able to switch out in the open world, it ties into the all-in-one universal presets that they've been showing and talking about. And we're getting really close. So quickly, I'm going to cover this, right? The all-in-one preset would basically mean that instead of having your gear presets, your artifacts, your skill add-ons, all of these things, you just click one button and it changes all of them. You would go in, have like these all-in, and you would select, for example, which skill preset to load on it, your gear loadout, your crystal loadout, your artifacts, your pets, and things like that. And this here is one of the missing pieces. And it would also indicate that you're going to be able to use this obviously out in an open world scenario and not have to go to safe zone. So this is also an indication of this with this change. So first we're getting obviously the Karaset accessories. And since we get the Karaset stuff, everyone is pretty much going to be using the exact same gear, which is going to be like a full Karaset, like down the road, right? Full Karaset with Fallen Guard armors. I'm expecting Sovereign armors maybe announced with the Winter Region Part 2, but then also Sovereign weapons. And your actual armor, like a weapon build or whatever, like your PvP build is going to be coming out of the crystals, which is part of the crystal presets. So they've already done these things in prep for it. So you have your crystal presets, which are also going to be your PvP gear setup. Your add-ons, we already have your artifacts presets, so you can add all of these into it. And pretty much we're getting to the point where as soon as we get the Karaset, there shouldn't be anything holding back the all-in-one preset. So Copium crossed and sucked on and everything, maybe at California Ball we'll finally get it. But yeah, if nothing else, at least here you can change now every 1 minute and you don't have to go to safe zone anymore, which is great. Moving on, there's a couple of bug fixes here in the classes. Nothing major, except Dosa Awakening getting the BSR abilities. So the first ability is this one right here, off of the Fire Blast. The damage looking solid. Of course, all this is subject to change, but the special effects are stiffness, unsuccessful hit, and that's it. Yeah, just more damage and stiffness, unsuccessful hit. Lame. The 25% ability is the SE water ability, and this one here gives slow for 5 seconds, attack speed and cast speed slow, and it also gives you a plus 10 DP for 20 seconds. Then it has a PvE CC, and that's about it. So it's a slow and a DP buff for 20 seconds, with of course damage on it. But yeah. So the final one, the 50%, is the Shift F ability, and this one here actually has a double CC. So it does stun on the first hit and then a KD on the last hit. And of course, lots of damage, like damage increase on it as well. So this one here definitely gonna be useful. If you can hit that like insta CC, follow up as well. Yeah, that might be useful. Another big update to Awakening Dosa is the change to the passive, the 5 elements mutual growth, elemental growth, right? So they're changing how it works. Previously, it was tricky to buff your allies because the effect triggered on the enemy's position. So now it's going to be triggering on the circle. When you're using the ability, it makes a circle. It's going to be triggering out of that. That means that the buffs from the caster, which could become overly strong, will only be applied by the elemental circle. So since the buff is now limited to the elemental circle, we are also expanding the range and increasing duration of all ally buffs within it to make it more effective. Now there are some stuff you could do with this, where you could actually double proc the buffs and everything with the on the target. So I'm guessing that's gonna be removed with this change here. But let's see the details on it. The effects is saturated. The application range is increased by approximately 40%. It's gonna be a 10-second buff now. And for yourself, right, and your allies, 10-second buff instead of the 5 seconds. When you're using the 5 elements skill, the match to create the mutual growth effects will trigger at the location, that's the dimension. It only activates if there's an enemy around the area. The mutual benefits effects has been changed to not be additionally activated around Tower's characters. Okay. So it just activates on the zone, and there needs to be an enemy in there, so you can't just proc it on the ground to pre-buff. There are 5 elements changed to not grant energy of the 5 elements surrounding enemies, no longer affected by 5 elements summoned by the Taoist, and the duration of the 5 elements realm before Sign is activated has been changed from 12 to 10 seconds. Okay. Punch down, the skill combo that could only be activated by left clicking the downward thrust, has been changed to be activated by pressing the E key. Tree bend after the downward thrust technique improves smooth connect. So here it's like just some connection stuff. It's good. It's always great having this smoothing out. Still no like damage changes or anything like that. I still feel like it needs a bit of a PvE damage buff. But yeah, maybe these changes here will somewhat help it. Right now, you're also going to be getting the 5% special attack damage for 10 seconds, so you should be able to keep that up pretty much permanently as well. So maybe that's going to help a bit. Bug fixes here, applications, cleaning it out, connections, all that. Harvest, right, and then they're adding some HP recovery to Harvest, and also this one up here. HP recovery when hitting with the planting seeds, planting skill. I'm not sure which one that is. It's probably one of the earth ones, right? Sky stepping, spacebar. It recovers 300 instead of 250, so buffing HP recovery across the board. A quick note about that is they technically nerfed the HP recovery on the passive. So again, as I mentioned, right now you can actually double proc the passives and the heal. And I'm going to assume that that is going to be changing now that it works on the zone, not the character. There's some tech you could use to double proc it. So this will inevitably reduce recovery, right? But now they're increasing then just recovery on the abilities and giving some to still make it able to have some sustain. Again, bug fixes and left clicking right. War of the Roses. The size of the Sanctum has been increased, making them easier to spot and attack during combat. Musical spirits, just some stuff here. Make them bigger, easier to spot. Still the same. Season Pass, quality of life improvement for season characters. Whenever you are doing your Naro to Valor, they've had a lot of complaints and tickets about it, so they just make it smoother. You can now reach the right enhancement level during your upgrading to meet the season pass requirements. So it's showing here, right? Slight improvements on the Kadri ruins. To make it more enjoyable, improvements made to underground terrain, so they fix some terrain so you don't get stuck. Always love to see that. If they would please do that to Daycare Ash Forest as well, that would be very nice. And also pursuing the mobs at Crescent has been, so it's pursuing you by enemies after appearing. Knowledge changes. Alright, for the guaranteed pin boss gear, the Gentina upgrade, they've made it so that both quests can't be accepted at the same time, and have changed to the quest wording to be clearer with the weapons and armors, because they kept getting tickets about people doing the wrong quest. So there we go. Again, some quality of life stuff here. Added the NPCs for Imperial trade-ins out at Land of Morning Light. And let's get to it. A relative big update on node wall changes. I will definitely say from the better. But is it enough? Let's see what they're doing now. The node wall, easy participation, blah blah blah. Some guilds like to occupy 4 just before the timer runs out to secure win. So the TLDRs, they are doing so. If you hold a fort, if you occupy a fort and you hold it for 15 minutes, you now win. This is done to incentivize people to actively fight over nodes constantly, and not just, let's say you have a 30-minute timer. Well, there's no real reason to fight over that fort until the last 10 minutes. Now, if a guild occupies a node and holds it for 15 minutes, they liberate it, they capture it, and they win that node. So it's a way to incentivize people when there's plenty of guilds dropping there and there's fighting going on, to not just focus on the next one that's gonna end, but actually generate fighting over all the nodes. Spread out the fight a bit more and make it seem a bit more organic, and again, incentivize to be attacking all of the nodes. Probably won't do anything really for the uncapped or regions with low participation. It just means that people now get off it faster, right? By getting it up for 15 minutes instead of having to wait it out. So this is good for the nodes where there's active fighting happening. It will incentivize people to actually go out and constant fight instead of just standing AFK and waiting. But there is more. They have also they made some changes so you get like a flag instantly when you make the flag because of this new limit. And another big, probably one of the main ones, I would say, feedbacks about the node wars, especially uncapped, is the player caps. And they're actually doing something with that. But at least from like an NA and EU perspective, wanting more people there, it's probably not gonna be enough, but it's something. So the TLDR is, we've reviewed the participation data from metros across all regions since Node War revamp. Turns out that most like around 5 to 10 participants, and even guilds that can gather the maximum number tend to miss out on a limit 3 times per week. So they are changing the player caps on the nodes 3 days a week. It's the TLDR. Important to note about this is there are different regions with different participations. So in SIA, and I've heard from Hui that in KR as well, there's a very good participation rate. Whereas on NA and EU, especially uncapped, it's more or less non-existing right now. So even though the numbers are not what you'll probably want, there is other regions to keep in mind as well. But here it is. At least something is happening. Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. The T1 caps is still 30, T2 cap is 50, and the uncapped is 75, just like it is now. However, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the caps are going to be 25, 40, and 55. I know a lot of people are really hoping to get some 30-man uncapped. Higher chance of getting people to actually meet the requirements. Like these double layers of barrier of entry, having the gear, and then having enough people with the gear. It means the amount of guilds that can even participate in this, it's like way less than on uncapped for obvious reasons. So it would be cool if maybe they tweak this number over time, maybe add one of the days being like a 30 cap across the board or something like that. So yeah, especially like no doubt more guilds would be able to participate in 55 over 75 for uncapped. Are they gonna do it? That's a separate question. Next up is, I would say, a big W, and one of those where I, for once, are like, where was this 7 years ago? But they are finally getting rid of all safe zones in regions doing node wars, except for major cities and villages, right? So no more of these random safe zones, especially Belarus's reindeer is mind-numbingly bad. The old rules of, oh, you're not allowed to cannon inside of safe zones, etc., because they're all over the place. They're finally doing it right. So here you go. These are going to be the safe zones. Villia Village, Olvia, Western, and I'm not sure what this is. For Serendia, it's only Heidel and Glish. Medai, you got Altinova, Tarif, and Kusha. Valencia has a bunch of here. Like, so pretty much only nodes and only the big cities. So like, what's it called? Like, yeah, major cities and towns. That's what I'm trying to say. We'll have safe zones now. So it's going to be, first off, intuitive, and it won't be all over the place. Actually, a W change. So some good things are happening at least. Next up, occupation battles. They are removing the DP threats. Basically, the TLDIs, Misty is not going to work on bases and forts and stuff like that anymore. So that's both doing like node wars and sieges, right? No more misting the bases. Then you have a couple of just regular fixes and changes, bug fixes, description changes, nothing really gameplay impacting in here. So yeah, that's it for today's patch. Excited for the Dosa stuff. I'm really excited for the first point with the being able to change your presets now out in a danger zone. And for the node war people out there that's been dooming, at least this one here seems to be an actual real step in the right direction. Some good changes in there, and then some that, well, might fall a bit short, but at least are not going the wrong way. So let me know what you guys think about this, and I'll see you all in the next one.